Here we are at another Strata plus Hadoop World. I'm Andrew Brust, the Senior Director of Technical Product Marketing and Evangelism at Datameer. With me is Tony Baer, and he is the Senior Principal Analyst for Information Management at Ovum.
I think so.
And a good pal as well. So we are here to talk about what we're seeing in the industry, what you're seeing in the industry, and what new stuff this show has brought up in the world of Hadoop and big data. We also need to drink to that.
It wouldn't be possible without this.
That's sort of
and by the way,
prerequisite for big data and Brews, which is what this is about.
It's about the free beer.
So, first of all, let me ask you a question.
Actually,
this show does have the word Hadoop in the title, right?
Yeah.
Is it just about Hadoop anymore?
It's really about a whole ecosystem. I mean, the fact is that we can start getting into like this contemplation of what is Hadoop. The fact is that what you're really looking at is a big data platform and ecosystem of technologies, and hopefully you're working with technology providers that hopefully will simplify all this.
Right.
Because the result is that you want to take advantage of innovations in scale out clusters, commodity hardware, commodity software, so you can get results that are not commodity.
I like the irony there.
Yeah. Cheers.
So, at least on the storage side of Hadoop, HDFS, the Hadoop Distributed File System, is that a unifying aspect, or is even that melting a little bit?
I've been having this discussion. I was tempted. I probably should be wearing all three lanyards. I mean, we start off with the MapR lanyard.
Yeah.
I got the Cloud Era, got the hardware, so I probably should have worn all three. The thing is, what makes Hadoop Hadoop? I think at once upon a time, you could say it was HDFS and MapReduce. You really can't say that anymore. We've got to say it's basically, if we're going to get down to the technical side of it, it's basically very compatible APIs so that what should theoretically work on one Hadoop platform should work on another. Obviously, reality is never quite so black and white or perfect.
Right. You know why I'm asking all this, right? Because of the S word, Spark.
Well, the deal is there's been this, and you gave me a great platform for this a few months ago during Spark Summit. There's been, I think, a lot of confusion, a lot of FUD out there, that it's basically that, Spark is going to replace Hadoop. I had a wonderful dinner with the Databricks folks last night. They're very good friends of mine.
Databricks, of course, being the principals of that company are the creators of Spark.
Right.
And
exactly.
Their cloud platform is all about Spark.
And it's the idea of simplifying Spark and making Spark accessible, so you can use it with tools such as Datameer, for instance. But anyway, their survey, basically said that roughly about half, 49% I think was the exact, were using Spark basically standalone. And that I think
standalone meaning not running on a Hadoop
exactly,
cluster.
is on a cluster that's equipped with JVM, and Linux. So technically not bare metal, but as far as data platform, it's bare metal.
Okay. What did you think of that statistic?
What I thought of that statistics is that if you're running it in the cloud and you're running it in an environment like that, or Spark as a service, well, of course it's going to be run on its own, because you're not using it for anything else.
Right.
My contention is that that model makes sense if you're working on a specialized, cloud service,
right.
Spark as a service. You're solving a specific problem. The data is coming from external sources such as, let's say, Internet of Things, or you're doing this basically as a proof of concept. But ultimately,
the idea, though, is the premise is you're bringing data to Spark.
Right.
So the idea of running it on an existing cluster is almost beside the point in these specific use cases.
In this case, yeah, because the thing is, do you need all the other services that Hadoop would provide if that's the only thing that you were running on it?
Sure.
And that we've seen a lot of that in, you can see repetitions, or since say, kind of similarities in the data warehousing world, where let's say like a Teradata and Oracle, they have basically workload optimized platforms, okay? So I mean, it's not a new idea to put something on a platform that's basically tailored for the workload. But on the other hand, I'm thinking from the standpoint that ultimately if you're going to bring this in-house into production, will you have the IT staff resources to maintain a whole separate compute silo and a whole separate data governance silo and data management silo?
Sure.
And yes, there are going to be some organizations that have very deep resources that will be able to do that. I don't think that's going to make sense for the enterprise mainstream.
Those are the same companies that used Hadoop in the very early days.
Exactly. You're talking about the classic early adopters and those that are going to push Spark to its limits. So in that instance, yes, I could very much see a future for standalone, but I think that's basically not. That's going to be for basically the bleeding edge. I don't see it, as I said, for for when Hadoop and Spark get into the mainstream. The other thing also is that tools, Spark is going to, a lot of organizations are going to be using Spark and not realizing that they are, because let's say if tools like Datameer, let's say, package Spark under the hood.
Right.
All they take care about is that we're
That's
getting,
actually our whole value proposition.
yeah, we're getting real-time operational results.
Yep.
Real-time operational analytics.
And the engine that brings it to you should not have to be your concern.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just care about the result. So, I mean, that even buttresses even further, even more that ultimately most Spark workloads are going to run, within a data platform and not standalone. It's not to say that there won't be Spark standalone, but it won't be the majority.